Hi, welcome to ESLG 481. This is English as a Second Language, English as a Foreign Language Methods and Materials. So what are we going to tackle in this course? In this course, we're going to get a sense of what are the real choices that we can make when we are working with English language learners, whether that's in the U.S. or outside of the U.S., whether it's with adults, whether it's with children, whether it's with highly educated students with very formal education, or if it's with students who have never learned to read and write in their first language. So we're going to get kind of a really wide sense of what our options are. And at all times, we're going to be connecting them back to what second language acquisition research tells us we should be reaching for. Now, in the old days, we really pulled apart the skills, and by the skills I mean the four: reading, writing, listening, speaking. So we really pulled those apart. In fact, if you look at very traditional programs still, and especially intensive English programs, you will often see that there's a reading class, a writing class, a listening class, a speaking class. I was taught to teach that way. Of course, what we know now is it's best to connect them. It's best to find those connections. And so I've wavered over the years. At times I've taught with the skills pulled apart, and at times I've taught really focused on showing how the skills connect. And what I've come to believe is that even though in the end product is all of us need to find ways to teach that reading, writing, listening, speaking are all happening around the same topic. They're all happening to help produce a certain product for students. We still, as developing teachers, still need to have a sense of how each of these four skills works. What's the research that informs each one? So, before I even show you how I've broken out the class, this is a bit of a disclaimer. I've pulled apart reading, writing, listening, speaking, but I don't want the big picture message to you to be that they are separate, they don't connect with each other, and we shouldn't connect them in the classroom. We should. And that's where we'll end up. That's where we will go, especially if you stay with us and take courses in the spring. That's what we'll be doing then as well. So let's take a look at how I've broken up the class. The very first unit and the last unit, Unit 6, they're about the ideas that guide us, but they're very different. Unit 1 is the second language acquisition research ideas that guide us. And so what we'll be accomplishing in this very quick 1-week unit, for those of you who've taken second language acquisition either this year or a previous year, either at EW or somewhere else, basically what it'll do, I hope, is to help you remember those essential ideas and those things that you must take with you forward, to take with you on the trip that you'll take as a professional. If you have not taken second language acquisition yet, no worries. What this unit will do is to be kind of a very quick overview, a very quick primer, and your classmate colleagues are going to help you catch up to speed so that you've got enough of second language acquisition understanding to move forward with the course, okay? Now I mentioned that there's 2 units that give us ideas that guide us. The first is the first unit, second language acquisition, and the last unit, the laws and policies that guide us. And this is mostly relevant to those who will be working in K through 12 in the U.S., but it's also relevant for others because, for example, if you in your career you end up working with adults who are language learners, perhaps adults at a community college, it's very likely they will have children and they will come to you asking questions. The teacher did this, is that legal? The principal put my child in this kind of program, is that legal? That kind of thing. This is going to give you a sense of really how our profession has moved across time, sometimes forward, sometimes, in my opinion, backwards, mostly forward, in terms of matching up the kinds of laws that guide us in our profession with what really is needed. So we'll begin that way and we'll end that way. Both of those units are 1 week. The other units are 2 weeks. We will look at reading, writing, listening, and speaking. What are we going to do to tackle that? I've got some lectures. Every one of these units is 2 weeks, and the first lecture that you'll get is kind of conceptual. It's the big picture. Often, whenever I can, I bring in historical understanding, so you get a sense of not just where we are now, but why are we here, and what led us to this place. I think it anchors our ideas a little bit. And then the other lecture, or the other lectures that happen in the unit, they're more detailed, they're more specific, they're about strategies, they're about specific, especially activities that I have found in my career that if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be the teacher that I am. So I want to make sure to emphasize those with you as well. We will carry out discussions. There are some pre-reflection activities for you to do, some post-reflection activities. There's a quiz with each of the units. And there's also, at the end of each of these units, the discussion that you'll take part in at the end of the unit is looking at a local case. So it's taking a look at, sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's longer, looking at a local teacher's teaching of English language learners. And what you will do, for example, in the reading unit, the class that I went in and observed and videotaped with everyone's permission was a reading activity. And so what you'll do is meet your classmates in the discussion and talk through it. What did you see? What was this teacher putting into action? And to basically use those concepts, use those terms, so that we really anchor them for ourselves, so that we really walk away with them. You will need them in your career. There's another added piece, and I don't know how it'll go, but I'm very hopeful about it. In between the units, in between here, I have something extra. I call it a fork in the road. And I spent a lot of time, as I was designing this online course, I spent a lot of time thinking about how have I learned to teach? What was that experience like? And part of the answer is, it's by viewing other people's teaching and then talking about it. So I've definitely built that in. But another way that I've learned to teach, and it happened especially in those early years, is I would come to what I think of as a fork in the road. So I realized that I've got a decision to make as a teacher. I could go that way or I could go that way. A student is presenting some issue, I could go this way, I could go that way. And the problem is, of course, with real life, is that you have to make a choice. And once you start down that road, you can change your mind and go somewhere else, but you can't undo the choice that you made. So what I did was I thought about some key forks in the road that I've experienced as a teacher, and in talking with others in the profession, they've experienced too. And then what I've done is I've reached out to some local experts in the community, and I've asked them to respond. If a teacher faced this dilemma and they went on this fork in the road, how would it work? And how about this one? And so in between the units, you'll be given a prompt, think about this, and then in between the next unit, you'll be faced with two choices, and you'll click on the one that most closely matches with your choice. And if in the end you're not happy with that, you're not happy with what the teacher says, you could click on the other and see how that choice would work out. So we'll see how that works, but I think it's a little bit closer to the real way that teachers learn to teach, and that's what this course is about. To help prepare us, I've also found a book. I'm very picky about books, so it's unusual when I find one that I like. But I'm going to use Paragoy and Boyle's new version of Reading, Writing, and Learning in ESL. And you might be having a bit of a panic attack right now thinking, wait a minute, it says ebook, but she's holding a physical book. This is the physical book. I was going to use this with the class, but then I saw that the ebook was far less expensive, $20 or $25 less. And there are lots and lots of videos, many of which we'll use in the class. So what if you're watching this and you've already purchased the physical textbook? Well, you have a couple of choices. One is to go ahead and use it and purchase the additional opportunity to use the online videos, and I'm not sure how much that would cost. Another is to make a friend in class, and whenever it's time to watch some of those videos, to go watch it with them, and to be able to get access through their e-textbook. So a couple of options there, but it really, saving $20 or $25 seemed like the way to go, and the access to even better videos than some of which I could find. So we will be busy. This is a 4-credit class, and we are going to use every bit of that 4 credits. But I believe at the other end of this course, you are going to feel confident writing, believe it or not, lesson plans for reading, writing, listening, speaking. And you're going to begin to feel confident about what your options are and what the outcome of those choices would be. So, welcome to ESLG 481. I look forward to a busy but wonderful quarter. See you in the class.